There's a quiet moment in life when you step in front of the mirror and look at yourself with complete honesty. No judgment, no shame, just truth. In that moment, you realize something uncompromising. The woman you see has grown beyond who she used to be. Not because she was weak, but because she was incomplete. And somewhere inside, a pulse of pressure, a whisper in your heart, says, it's time to become someone sharper, calmer, stronger, someone unrecognizable compared to your past self. You've outgrown who you've been. It's time to become someone else. Transformation doesn't start with a burst of motivation or some inspirational quote on Instagram. It starts with a decision, a private vow you make when no one else is watching. It's a shift in how you see yourself in those lonely moments after midnight or early at dawn. This is what made the Stoics of ancient times so respected and even a little feared. They weren't loud about their growth, but they were undeniably transformed inside. They didn't sit around wishing life would change. They became the change. Consider Marcus Aurelius, scribbling in his journal by candlelight amid a war, gently examining his own flaws with courage. Think of Epictetus, born into slavery, who educated himself by any means and rose to become a teacher of emperors on the subject of inner freedom. Their transformations were not cosmetic or for show. They were structural, quiet, deep, and permanent. Becoming unrecognizable isn't about impressing others or earning external validation. It's about evolving so profoundly that even your future self might struggle to recognize the mindset you used to have. It's about consistently choosing discipline over impulse, clarity over confusion, principle over pleasure, and character over comfort. It's deciding that your life is too valuable to live at the mercy of distraction, fleeting emotions, or the environment around you. It's the exhaustion of living payday to payday, of checking your bank app with a knot in your stomach and deciding enough. Stoicism teaches a simple truth. You don't control what happens in life, but you absolutely control the part of you that meets life. And when that part of you upgrades, your entire world rearranges itself around the new you. History shows that this kind of transformation is possible for anyone willing to do the inner work. Look at Cato the Younger, who lived with such integrity that even his enemies respected his word. Look at Harriet Tubman, who returned again and again to rescue others, guided by an unyielding sense of purpose. Look at Admiral James Stockdale, who survived 7 years of captivity by applying Epictetus's teachings like mental armor. And look at modern high performers, CEOs, athletes, artists who cut the noise, master their reactions, and redesign their environments until their results seem almost superhuman. If you want to become unrecognizable, it won't happen by wishing or complaining. It will come from rebuilding your foundation, your identity, your discipline, your inputs, your emotional responses, your surroundings, and yes, your finances. Not overnight, but steadily, like a rough stone being smoothed by steady water. So let's dive into the principles of profound transformation. 1. Focus on identity, not motivation. There comes a point when you understand that motivation is a fickle friend. It disappears when you need it most. You can't build anything lasting on something so temporary. Identity, on the other hand, is the bedrock of your actions. the solid ground you stand on. It's the quiet story you tell yourself about who you are. Your identity drives your actions far more powerfully than motivation ever will. The Stoics knew this. Epictetus taught his students to become a certain kind of person, disciplined, focused, unshakable. He understood that if you build the right identity, the right actions naturally follow. Modern psychology calls this identity-based habit building. When you shift the story of who you are, everything else shifts with it. Think about it. If you tell yourself, "I want to work out sometimes," the identity is flimsy. But if you declare, "I am an athlete," suddenly your actions have a backbone. If you say, "I'm trying to save money," that's tentative. That's the identity of someone who hopes things get better. But say, "I am financially responsible and in control of my money," or "I am a disciplined steward of my wealth," and watch how your spending choices start to align. Your decisions become easier because they must stay consistent with the kind of person you've declared you are. This is how the Stoics forged themselves. They didn't wait to feel wise or calm. They acted that way to become that way. Marcus Aurelius wrote morning reminders to himself, not because he was perfect, but because he was actively shaping the man he wanted to be. He didn't wake up saying, "I hope I feel motivated today." He woke up committed to behaving as a just leader, whether he felt like it or not. Identity is training, and training happens every day. Consider anyone who has built something remarkable. They don't rely on fleeting motivation. They rely on identity-based standards. You can hear it in how they talk. "I never skip my training. I keep my word, to myself and to others. I finish what I start. Giving up is not in my character." These are identity scripts. They define how you live every day. And here's the paradox. You don't need to feel like your future self to start acting like her. Feelings follow actions, not the other way around. Act first. The confidence will catch up. If you want to become unrecognizable to your old habits, you must first become unrecognizable to your old identity. The identity of a procrastinator is totally different from the identity of someone who executes. The identity of someone who seeks comfort is nothing like the identity of someone who embraces challenge. Identity isn't what you say. It's what you prove to yourself through repetition. You are not chained to the person you were yesterday. You are the author of your internal narrative. Imagine changing the script in your head from, "What do I feel like doing today?" to, "What would the future me do right now?" That one question can rebuild your life. Because the future you, the successful, unbothered, financially savvy you, wouldn't hit the snooze button 4 times, or scroll drama for an hour, or blow money on impulse buys. She would get up and get to work. She would stick to her budget. She would act, not agonize. When you choose to act like her today, you begin to merge with her. Identity is built by quiet, repeated choices. The Stoics understood that character is shaped in those tiny, invisible moments. Each time you make the right tiny choice, you strengthen the new identity. Your future self is already watching you through your actions today. She's waiting for you to start living like her, so you can become her. Here's the simplest way to begin. Pick one identity shift and live from it today. Not tomorrow, today. For example, I'm the kind of person who finishes what she starts. I'm the kind of person who controls her reactions, even under stress. I'm the kind of person who chooses discipline over comfort. I'm the kind of person who protects her focus and time. Say it. Write it down. Act from it. Repeat it tomorrow. Keep repeating it until one day you look up and realize you're it. Once your identity changes, your entire life follows. You'll just be the kind of person who does what needs to be done. And that is the beginning of becoming truly unrecognizable. 2. Embrace radical self-discipline. There's a brutal, quiet truth. Your dreams do not care about your mood. The business you want to build doesn't pause because you're tired. Your goals don't extend their deadlines just because you don't feel like it. This is where most people fail. They negotiate with their excuses. I'll do it tomorrow. I'm not in the mood. They treat their feelings as the boss. If you truly want a life your old self wouldn't recognize, you have to flip that. You must step into a level of discipline so solid that it stops asking, "How do you feel?" and starts asking, "What needs to be done?" The Stoics understood this. As Epictetus bluntly put it, no great thing is created suddenly. Nothing extraordinary blossoms from a comfort zone. Every transformation is built on the ability to act independent of emotion. The Stoics didn't trust motivation. They trusted training. That was their superpower. Action divorced from mood. Radical self-discipline begins when you stop being the employee of your emotions and become the commanding officer of your actions. Stop checking the weather of your mood. Build the structure of your day and stick to it. If you've decided to write at 7 a.m., then 7 a.m. is work time, whether you're energized or exhausted. If today is gym day, it doesn't matter if the bed feels cozy. You get up and go. That is radical discipline. Look at the greats. Serena Williams spent countless mornings on the court, not because she always felt inspired, but because she had a vision and stuck to it. Or imagine the American single mom working 2 jobs to keep the lights on, who still finds an hour after the kids are asleep to study for her certification. Do you think she feels like it? Probably not. But her discipline and her why are stronger than her momentary fatigue. Action independent of mood is a superpower. Stoic history is full of this. Cato the Younger deliberately wore rough clothing and walked barefoot to train his mind not to rely on comfort. He understood that discipline is not punishment, it is preparation. Radical self-discipline means doing what you said you would do, long after the mood you set it in has passed. Discipline rewrites the script. It doesn't matter if I feel like it. The work is getting done. When you live with that mindset, tasks stop being heavy burdens. They become non-negotiables. This is just what I do, because this is who I am. Discipline isn't just about pushing harder. It's also about removing what makes you weaker. Cut out the self-sabotage, procrastination, impulsive decisions, spending, angry texts, incessant overthinking, dramatic emotional spirals. The Stoics taught strengthening your inner governor, that part of you that says, "Stop," when you're about to violate your own goals. Here's the paradox. Once discipline becomes your identity, life gets easier, not harder. You waste less time debating with yourself. You gain clarity and traction. People think discipline restricts freedom, but really, discipline creates freedom. It frees you from chaos, from emotional roller coasters, from regret, and from the guilt of letting yourself down. Of course, there will be days when every cell in your body begs for the easy path. Radical discipline is hearing those whispers and moving forward anyway. When you act anyway, you are building a life based on choice, not luck. The Stoics believed the highest freedom was self-mastery. Radical self-discipline is self-mastery in motion. It's the art of consistently choosing the future you want over the present comfort you could have. Practice this long enough, and one day you'll realize the old you, the one who needed motivation and made excuses, couldn't survive a single day in the life you're living now. 3. Cut out the noise and reduce inputs. The world isn't just trying to distract you, it's trying to own your attention. And most people hand it over without a fight. They drown in notifications, scroll mindlessly, and absorb the opinions of strangers as facts. All that noise isn't harmless. It's quietly shaping your character and fracturing your attention. If you want to truly transform, you must do something rare. Cut the noise. Reduce your inputs so drastically that your mind falls quiet and razor-focused. Stoic philosophy warned about this. Marcus Aurelius wrote about cleansing your thoughts from what doesn't serve them. He trained himself to carve out a private mental space of clarity. A noisy mind cannot lead, create, or transform. Modern neuroscience backs this up. Constant stimulation wrecks deep thinking. Your brain becomes wired for the next dopamine hit, not for understanding. You can't hear your own intuition over the roar of the crowd. If you feel your life lacks direction, ask, how much noise am I letting in? Real transformation often begins with subtraction, not addition. We try to fix our life by adding more, but true change starts by removing the unnecessary. Consider the great thinkers. Leonardo da Vinci spent hours in silent observation. Seneca cautioned against squandering life in meaningless distractions. Maya Angelou wrote in a plain hotel room to hear her own voice clearly. They all understood. The mind becomes sharp when the world becomes quiet. Let's break down the noise. Digital noise, the constant buzz, feeds, alerts, and late-night rabbit holes. Emotional noise, the drama others bring, the negativity from comment sections, the toxic conflicts. Mental noise, the overthinking, anxieties, replaying past mistakes, and constant comparison. Environmental noise, the cluttered room, the messy desk, the TV blaring, the chaotic schedule. Cutting noise isn't about isolation, it's about filtration. You are choosing what to allow into your mind. When you reduce inputs, you begin to hear your own thoughts again. You discern your true values. In the newfound silence, the real you emerges. You stop consuming so much noise and start producing clarity. Your mind, no longer just reacting, starts creating ideas, solutions, a better life plan. You stop absorbing gossip and start seeking knowledge. You stop comparing yourself to others and start focusing on being better than you were yesterday. A quiet mind is a superpower. It can laser focus. It stays stable under pressure. In a world where everyone is overwhelmed, calmness is power. You'll carry yourself with a different presence. You listen more. You speak less, but with more weight. You aren't easily swayed. That calm focus will make you stand out. This can be uncomfortable at first. Silence can be confronting. When you turn off the distractions, you face the thoughts you've been evading. But that discomfort is the doorway. The Stoics use silence as a forge to build resilience. Imagine waking up with a mind that isn't already exhausted. Imagine making decisions without the fog of others' opinions. Imagine setting goals you genuinely care about. All of that happens when you cut the noise. The world will tell you you're missing out. But when you're constantly tuned in to everything out there, you're missing out on yourself. And that is a far bigger loss. 4. Cultivate calm and control your emotions. The most powerful person in the room is the one who remains calm. It's not the loudest, it's the one who can take in the chaos and respond with intention, not impulse. This is where your transformation becomes visible. The Stoics understood this. Epictetus taught, "It's not things that upset us, but our judgments about things. It's rarely the event itself, but our interpretation of it. A traffic jam isn't angering. Our thought, 'This is terrible, this shouldn't be happening,' fuels the rage. Change your interpretation, and you change the impact." Consider Marcus Aurelius. He faced betrayals, wars, and plagues. Yet he reminded himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." His emotional control was his anchor. Because he stayed calm, he could think clearly while others panicked. Contrast that with today. So many are constantly triggered. A nasty comment ruins your day. Critical feedback makes you snap. We live in a culture that almost encourages outrage. In this environment, calmness is a superpower. Being calm doesn't mean you don't care. It means you have clarity when others are losing their heads. It means you're harder to manipulate. If someone can provoke you, they control you. That's why the Stoics practiced the art of the pause. When provoked, they'd take a breath before reacting. That moment is everything. It's the difference between regret and a thoughtful response. In that pause, you reclaim your power. Reactivity is the enemy of growth. It wrecks relationships. It kills opportunities. It turns small problems into big ones. It keeps you stuck because a reactive mind doesn't learn. Emotional control, on the other hand, changes the game. A crisis becomes a test of resilience. Criticism becomes just feedback to be evaluated. A trigger becomes a signal to look inward. Conflict becomes a chance to practice patience. This isn't about suppressing emotions. You still feel anger, fear, sorrow, but you don't let those feelings run the show. You acknowledge them and choose your response. It's like being a skilled captain. When a huge wave, emotion, comes, you don't ignore it, but you also don't let it throw you off course. You adjust your sails and steer steadily. Imagine someone disrespects you. If you're reactive, you yell back, and they now control your mood. If you're controlled, you feel the sting, but you pause. You might calmly address it or simply walk away with your dignity. You decide. This kind of calm is magnetic. People notice. They trust you. In a team or family, people look to you for guidance when things get heated. When everyone else is panicking and you remain steady, you become the quiet leader. As a woman, your calm confidence sets you apart. It challenges the unfair stereotype of being too emotional. When you maintain grace under fire, you show what true emotional mastery looks like. Each time you choose a controlled response over an impulsive one, you're rewiring your identity. You stop seeing yourself as easily rattled. You start seeing yourself as capable and steady. Transformation happens in these tiny moments. When you choose silence instead of snapping back. When you choose patience instead of frustration. When you choose to walk away from pointless drama. Each choice is a small victory. Together, they build a new you, solid, unshakable, and happier. You can't control what happens, but you can always control how you respond. That changes everything. 5. Redesign your environment. Redesign your life. You are not just a product of your choices. You're also a product of your environment. The habits you keep. The thoughts you think. So much is shaped by what and who you surround yourself with. To become unrecognizable to your old self, you must do something your old self never did. Change the world around you in order to change the world within you. The Stoics knew this. Seneca warned that if you live among the lazy, you will slow down. We become like the things we surround ourselves with. Modern science agrees. Our environment cues our behavior. This is why people get stuck. They try to fight their impulses while their surroundings keep nudging them back into old patterns. It's like trying to grow a tropical plant in a cold, dark room. Transformation gets easier when you redesign your environment. Change what surrounds you, and your behavior changes almost automatically. Your environment is either supporting your future or preserving your past. Start with your physical environment. Does your home energize you or drain you? Clear out clutter. Physical clutter creates mental clutter. Set up a dedicated workspace. Remove temptations. If you want to read more, put a book on your pillow and your phone across the room. Design your space intentionally. Next, your digital environment. Clean it up. Unfollow accounts that bring negativity or comparison. Subscribe to feeds that inspire and educate. Turn off non-essential notifications. Organize your apps so the tools that help you are front and center, and the apps that suck your time are hidden or gone. Now, your social environment. This is tough but crucial. We become the average of the people we spend time with. Are they pushing you to be better or pulling you back? You may need to set boundaries. Spend less time with people who discourage or drain you. Seek out people who motivate you. If you don't know them, find communities, online or local, where they hang out. One positive, driven friend can change your trajectory. Finally, your internal environment, your routines. Create routines that support focus. Maybe start the morning with 10 minutes of journaling instead of social media. Set boundaries, like no work emails after 7 p.m. When you notice negative self-talk, replace it. When you procrastinate, use a 5-minute rule. When you reshape your surroundings, you rewrite the script of your life. You plant new cues that align with the life you want. Transformation stops feeling like constant resistance and starts feeling like momentum. 6. Master your finances, master your life. At some point, you'll confront a practical truth. If you don't control your money, it will control you. Becoming unrecognizable must involve becoming financially empowered. For many women, mastering finances is the final frontier of personal freedom. Not long ago, women in America couldn't even open a bank account without a man's co-signature. Today, you have that ability. Taking charge of it is a form of personal empowerment. As a modern woman in America, mastering your money is no longer a luxury. It's your shield, your exit plan, and your ticket to choices your grandmother never had. Stoicism isn't about chasing money for money's sake. But the Stoics knew that mishandling money causes real distress and limits your freedom. The Stoic philosopher Seneca said, "Wealth is the slave of a wise person and the master of a fool." If you're wise, money is a tool you control. If you're foolish, money, or the lack of it, will rule your life. What does this look like? Applying the same principles. Identity. Stop saying, "I'm just bad with money." Rewrite that story. "I am learning to master my finances." Or, "I handle money wisely." Act this identity first, and the reality will follow. Discipline. Financial discipline is creating a budget and sticking to it. It's setting up an automatic transfer to savings first, paying your future self before you pay anyone else. You do this whether you feel like it or not. Cutting noise. The noise is get-rich-quick schemes, panic-inducing market news, and social pressure to spend. Cut it out. Choose a sound strategy and stick to it. Stop comparing your life to someone else's highlight reel. Emotional control. Money is emotional. Fear and greed are powerful. Don't let them dictate your choices. When the market dips, you don't panic sell. When you feel down, you don't use retail therapy. You stick to your plan. Environment. Shape your environment for financial success. Use apps or auto systems to make saving default. Keep reminders of your goals visible. Cultivate influences, books, podcasts that encourage smart money habits. This empowerment is practical. It's the young professional staring down 6 figures of student loan debt, deciding to build a plan rather than live in dread. It's the corporate woman caught in golden handcuffs, a high-paying job she hates, who starts saving aggressively to buy back her freedom. It's the single mother who builds a $1,000 emergency fund for the first time, giving her a buffer against life's chaos. Financial freedom means money is not your primary limiting factor or source of stress. It means you have options. You aren't stuck in a toxic job or relationship because of financial dependency. You can handle emergencies, a car repair, a medical bill, without your world falling apart. You can take calculated risks, like starting a business or going back to school. You can say yes to opportunities and no to things that don't align with your values. You live more by choice, less by necessity. Think of women who did this. Madam C.J. Walker, born into poverty, became America's first female self-made millionaire by using discipline and entrepreneurship. She created her own opportunity. Oprah Winfrey, from humble beginnings, built an empire and now uses her wealth as a tool to fund education and create meaningful media. So decide today to start becoming unrecognizable in how you handle money. This isn't about obsession. As the Stoics would say, it's about removing chaos so your mind can focus on what truly matters. The practical steps are simple, but require the discipline you've been building. 1. Face reality. The Stoic truth. For the next 30 days, track every dollar. No judgment, just data. You cannot control what you do not understand. 2. Pay your future self first, the premeditation. Before you pay any bill, set up an automatic transfer, even just 5% of your paycheck, to a separate savings account. This is a non-negotiable promise to the woman you are becoming. 3. Build your fortress, the emergency fund. Your first goal is not wealth, but resilience. Save $1,000 into a fund you do not touch. This is your buffer against fate's surprises. It buys you peace of mind. 4. Sharpen your mind, the study. Read one good personal finance book, not a get-rich-quick scheme, but a solid foundation, like The Simple Path to Wealth or Your Money or Your Life. Knowledge is your armor. These might seem like small moves, but they are casting votes for a new financial identity. Over time, these choices compound. The woman who once felt powerless about money will become the woman who calmly budgets, invests, and commands it with confidence. By mastering your finances, you remove one of the biggest sources of stress in life. You ensure money serves you, not the other way around. There comes a powerful moment when you stand in the midst of your new life, looking at your habits, your mindset, your bank account, your daily routine, and you realize you are not becoming a brand new person. You are uncovering the person you were always meant to be. Transformation isn't loud. It happens quietly, in those countless little decisions no one sees. When you choose identity over impulse, discipline over comfort, silence over noise, calm over chaos, environment over complacency, and principle over pleasure. One day, you wake up and the realization hits. You have stepped so fully out of your old self that you can barely recall what it felt like to be that person. You try to remember her fears, her habits, and it's hard to even relate. You've shed that skin completely. That's what it means to be unrecognizable. Let's recap what the old you left behind and what the new you has gained. You stop chasing motivation because your actions flow from who you are. You stopped battling yourself because discipline is now woven into you. You stopped drowning in distractions because you've become intentional about your focus. You stopped reacting impulsively because you've learned to master your emotions. You stopped feeling trapped because you redesigned your environment to support your growth. You stopped losing sleep over money because you've taken command of your finances. This isn't a temporary phase. It's a structural transformation. It's the kind of fundamental change Stoic philosophy has championed for centuries. Think of Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king, known not for his power, but for his self-discipline. Or Epictetus, who went from slave to respected teacher because he mastered his own mind. And think of the many women and men who have followed, using these principles to break barriers and lead lives of impact. And now, here you are, doing the same. The minute you stop relying on feelings and start relying on your chosen identity, everything shifts. The future version of you is not far away. She's one decision away. Each time you choose to act as she would act, you collapse the distance between you and her. You draw that future self into the now. So keep going. Keep becoming unrecognizable. Not in a day, but bit by bit. one identity shift at a time, one disciplined choice at a time, one boundary set at a time, one piece of clutter cleared at a time, $1 saved at a time, one deep breath taken instead of an outburst at a time. This is how the Stoics transformed adversity into strength. This is how high performers turn ambition into reality. This is how you are transforming yourself. Do this consistently, and soon the past version of you will be nothing more than a story you remember, useful for its lessons, but no longer a limit on what you can be. And the new you will stand there, undeniable, solid, and truly unrecognizable. Your journey is your legacy. Make it one that the old you would be astonished and proud of.